Why, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Anime Club.
Welcome back to Seki's night parade of 4 demons!
5, where's he at?
5 demons!
One of those demons is really big.
Yes! Huge.
Ginormous.
If I can lure out the laser pointer.
A true chongus. Meow! Meow.
I can't find him.
Anyways, our own little Bakaniko will show up eventually.
Yeah.
You mean Baka and Neko?
Yeah.
Bakaniko.
Yeah. Anyways, so...
Excuse me.
Characters and story for... So, Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan, there's a few things I want to start with. So, first of all, this is an ensemble cast, right?
Yeah.
Like, we start with a large cast of characters from the beginning.
Yep.
And then we slowly get to know more and more about each of the individual characters as the story goes on.
Yep.
And I think that, honestly, this hits a pretty good balance about how much we get to know about the characters up to this point, because you have to think that this is about a quarter of the whole show, right? So I think we're hitting a pretty good balance. Also, I will admit, I deliberately left us off where I did because of the way the arc divides. So I wanted to leave us. So there are a couple arcs in this first 12 episodes, but actually the last 2 episodes of this are leading into the arc that will take up the rest of the season.
Can I go ahead and call bullshit on one thing?
What?
That you ended us here. This is the exact same place you ended me when you watched it with me initially.
Yes, which was deliberate, because the recap episode is after this.
And
I swear, Seki, I'm gonna strangle you one of these days for doing this shit.
Oh shit, because you've never seen past this!
No. We stopped both times at the same exact spot.
Oh god, you know what that means, people? You're gonna see more of Nura this season. Now I feel really bad. We're gonna watch the rest of season 1. That will be one of my submissions. I'm so sorry. I completely forgot that I was doing this to you twice.
Yeah, this is the second time you blue ball him.
Oh boy, do I feel bad now.
I've had the same exact ending of he's gone, he's left.
Anyways, so I think we care. I don't want to talk about characters until we talked a little bit about the story itself, because I feel like that's pretty important here. So, obviously from the name, Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan, this story has to do with traditional Japanese yokai, right? It is full of them. That is literally the point. The main character of our story is the 3rd generation heir of the night parade of 100 demons, right? And the whole point is that there are a few human characters, but everyone who lives at his house and this night parade he's supposed to take over is all different types of yokai.
It's just a Yakuza story, let's be real
Yep.
here.
It is genuinely just a Yakuza story, but with yokai instead of Yakuza.
Yep.
And honestly, I am here for this. This is fantastic. And they're so creative with the yokai. Honestly, they really are. In the first episode, we see, just in the first 12 episodes, we see so many different types of yokai. And they explain or show us the powers or whatever of different types of yokai without making it feel like we're getting lore dumped about each yokai episode.
Lokai.
Fucking...
Lokai beats for when you're studying.
Oh, God. It's gonna be one of those
my brain.
It's gonna be one of those episodes, isn't it?
Yes.
My brain. Anyways, but yes, so they're really good at finding a ton of different yokai and then showing them to us without making it feel like you're just getting lore dumped about a ton of different Japanese stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we see Yuki Onna, we see fucking Kappa, we see a Tanuki, we see Inugami, all sorts of shit.
On one hand, I think that works well for us because we're pretty well
versed.
But I feel like if you were to show this to a blind person on an American TV, they might be very lost.
They would just think it was a Yakuza show.
Yeah.
It would just be a Yakuza show.
Yakuza show with a bunch of weird monsters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's fine.
Yeah, no, this is great. And I think that the animators really captured kind of the differences between all the different yokai. We don't really have a whole lot of characters who are just looking alike and acting alike, which is really helpful because you are never confused about which character is which. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You guys might not know all the names, of course. I don't expect you to know all the names. There's a lot of them. There's Kurotabo, Aotabo, the Yuki Onna, Kubinashi, the Kappa, Gozu and Mezu, Gyuki, Hihi, Rikuo.
Mm-hmm.
Kyokutsugi, the Kekkoin girl, Anna. There is a lot of characters, people. And honestly, I will say that a few of them I didn't like so much right at the very beginning, but I think by the end of 12 episodes, I was feeling pretty good about all of them.
There were any in particular that were getting on your nerves at the beginning?
I have to admit that Yokai, her first introduction and like the first episode or two that she's around really irritate me. But specifically, I really hate, and this is definitely getting into story, but I really hate the episode where they go over to Rikuo's house for the first time, and she's just, and like he takes them to a room, and like it's stay where you're put, it's polite, and they're just like, we're gonna walk all over this other person's like house, like touching stuff and opening doors, just following this girl that we barely know because she says she thinks she senses demons. Like that really like tingles all of my no receptors about a person. Like,
I mean, yes, but I found that kind of funny, to be honest.
I have one character
she's so inept socially.
Yeah.
I have one character that did peeve me, and this is very specific to the dub.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Did you, Nick, did you finish with the dub at all?
I literally watched half of it in dub with you and half of it in sub alone.
So there was this
I've seen both dub and sub.
Okay, so there's this one halfway point into, or not even halfway point, this is like the second to last episode, with Yuki Onna, where she's getting all jealous with Kana or whatever and stuff like that, or Rikuo specifically. And all I hear is Morgana from Persona 5.
Is it the same voice
It's the same voice actress.
Okay.
It is the exact same voice actress.
Voice actor?
Yes, it is. And I didn't realize it until I started, and I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking Morgana.
I will admit that while I have seen both the sub and the dub, I do prefer the sub. I don't think the dub is bad.
No, it wasn't.
I just have a personal preference for the sub.
Yeah.
I think it's Japanesey enough to where I prefer the sub.
Yeah, because it loses a little of something in the dub, I feel, because there's a very specific moment in the sub where even in the sub they use a Japanese word, even in the subtitles, and I kind of wish I had gone back and listened to that one line of dialogue in English, because I really want to know what they said, because it's the point after the Gyuki arc, which we're going to talk about in a second, where Rikuo's grandfather comes up to him and he's like, excommunicated, hashikiri, and it just says in the English sub like harakiri or hashikiri, right? Which I know is a Japanese word for something, and I've heard it before, but I don't know what the English translation is. And if they didn't even translate it to English in the subtitles, I'm really curious as to what they did in the dub.
I think it's because they probably said it in multiple different ways.
Yeah. Harakiri. Oh, it's okay, so it's another word for
Seppuku.
Yeah, it's another word for seppuku. It's ritual suicide by disembowelment with sword, formerly practiced in Japan by samurai as an alternative. So it's probably just a separate word for seppuku. Yeah, that's what it is. So he goes like excommunicated, harakiri.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a escalation.
Yeah.
But I get it now.
Yeah.
I get why they couldn't just write death by self-disembowelment.
Yeah.
I think that there's minute differences between seppuku and harakiri, but it's the same outcome.
Yeah. Dumbass cat.
Yeah. Okay, so harakiri specifically refers to just the action of cutting the stomach, while seppuku represents the entire ritual and traditional proceedings included.
Got it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So sorry, I tangented us for a second, but I was just like, and I know I've heard it in the dub, I just can't remember what they said in the dub.
I think they said seppuku, maybe.
I think they might have just said excommunicated 3 times.
Sudoku.
Yeah, I don't honestly remember that, like, specifically what they said there, so.
Yeah, so, but the dub's good. The dub's good.
The dub is good.
So getting into story a little bit, right? So I think the arc breakdown, you know what it reminds me of? El Meloy. A little bit.
Tiny bit, yeah.
A little bit. Where you've got like 1 or 2 like shorter arcs and then a bit of a longer one going up to the end. Like rather than just like 3 or 4 equally sized arcs, there's a a couple real short ones or single episode things, and then one really long arc in this 12 episode segment.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, episode 10 starts the Shikoku Yokai arc.
Yeah.
That goes through episode 26 with the exception of the recap episode.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the next arc is going to be massively long.
Yeah.
And I think there's maybe only one break episode in it that's like something on a different topic.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's an interesting breakdown of arcs. So with that being said, we start with really Gyuki's test arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the introduction to the series and Gyuki's arc. And I have to say, I love Gyuki's arc.
Do we want to get into waifu wars with this section right here?
No, we're gonna go into Gyuki's arc, right?
Yeah, we still gotta talk about arcs.
Well, we finished talking about characters already.
Well, it's not as if we're like, we usually do waifu wars at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanna do waifu wars now?
Let's do it now.
Waifu wars! Waifu wars! Waifu wars! Rem.
Gyuki's my waifu.
Knick-knack.
I actually really like Yuki Onna, and it's like 90% the design.
I hate Yuki Onna. Born.
Ice Girl.
Yeah, so Yuki
Onna.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Yuki Onna.
Tsubasa? Is that her human name?
I don't remember.
Something like that.
Something.
Oh god. Oh god, I have to have a waifu.
Just join me. Join the
But
Gyuki.
like, yes.
Join the Gyuki train.
Gyuki all the way. No,
We're
but
evenly matched.
Nah, fam, but the problem is, I love Gyuki, I love Zen, I love Gozu and Mezu, I like Kappa, I like Kubinashi, I like Kurotabo.
We're evenly matched here and divided. You know there's only one solution for this, right?
Fight to the death.
We throw ice cubes at you until you repent. I'm kidding.
Wait, you suggest something that would make me happy. I am extremely overheated right now.
Yeah.
Please throw ice at me.
I
am dying.
ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Stone you to death with ice cubes.
Yes, I am dying. Anyway, so Gyuki is... So we have a couple episodes that are kind of just like, you know, here's Rikuo, you know, here's some of the human characters, and here's some of the yokai characters. We have a couple episodes to get used to it without doing anything serious, which I'm a big fan of, because the cast is so large that you really don't want to like just hop into like separate arcs focusing on each one. And what I do like is that, I mean, I know that, like, the one main arc we have, the Gyuki arc, like, they're all of the arcs we have are centered around antagonists to Rikuo who are also, like, promoting his growth and development as a character. Because we meet this kid who's, like, a little asshole. Rikuo's a little asshole.
I don't want to take over the Yakuza family business.
Rikuo, take over the Yakuza. I don't want.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of an asshole. I'm not gonna lie.
He's a little he's a little bitch is what we call him.
You know what I do like though? I do like that a lot of this story, especially what we saw, is Rikuo like just being Rikuo, and by that winning the loyalty of members who maybe like had lost faith in him or didn't have it to begin with or wanted him to prove himself. And like bit by bit he's just like, well, fuck.
I like the twist with Rikuo later, because at first you think it's like basically two separate people, like Yami Yugi style.
Yep.
But then like towards the end of the season it's sort of revealed, no, it's all Rikuo. It's just he's got a little bit more of a blood boiling thing going on when he's the other guy.
Yeah, it's so funny because they really play it off at like the first half of this as just like two separate people, right? Like at war. You know, he gets the body sometimes, he gets the body the rest of the time. But by the end you really get to see that like it's all one person.
It's all one person ultimately. It's just before he didn't accept that other side of him basically.
Yeah.
So whenever he did turn into that other guy, he lost a lot of his memories.
Whenever those instincts or desires came to the forefront, it was just like lost time for him, you know? And it's nice to see him kind of becoming one with that, you know?
Yeah.
Accepting it into himself. I keep mentioning Gyuki's test arc. Gyuki's test arc. How did we feel about our baby, Ume Wakamaru?
Wait,
which was that one?
He was.
It was the whole fucking arc
it was
about
the-
that
it
dude
was
with
the-
the long hair and the Gyuki.
Yeah.
Ume Wakamaru.
Yeah.
But I really did. So well, first technically we had the arc with Zen, right? Like, but that was really just kind of like a one episode sort of off thing. And there was Kyuso, and that's really how we get introduced to nighttime Rikuo, is through Kyuso and Zen. And I really like the dynamic with Zen, especially. Because it was like someone who already believes in Rikuo, but like confirming that like fully was really nice. And then we get into Gyuki. And, you know, they've got this whole thing where they go to Mount Nejime, where Yuki reigns, right? And you get, like, Yuki's whole tragic backstory, which is actually tragic as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, oh my fucking god, Ume Wakamaru, you need a hug.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely.
And
then you learn at the end that his entire goal was just to test if Rikuo was ready, like, and would not, like, fail this night parade of 100 demons, this found family of his.
Yeah.
And either way, he knew that he would have been a traitor, so he was going to kill himself out of remorse and guilt.
Yeah.
I like that, like, in that art, if you pay attention to it, like, his name isn't even really Gyuki, he just happened to, like, really set up shop where the original Gyuki was, so the name was prescribed to him.
The name
So
was...
over time, he even lost his original self.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get like that moment where he's talking to the old Nura in his memories, and then he just reveals, like, they don't tell you what he says too, and I think that's a great moment because then they talk about how he's created this family, and in reality,
they tell you what he says, but they don't tell you immediately.
Yeah. And in reality, what he's doing, it's not that he's against Rikuo, it's that he wants to make sure that, like, his family will survive, right? Like, no one will destroy them. And that is honestly, you know, and then at the end, fucking Rikuo just being like, if you want to kill me, do it when I'm in my human form if you have a problem with me. Like, I'm not gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Come at me, bitch. Hell yeah. And then that being kind of like the moment where he's forced to take up his position as third heir.
Yeah. That's kind of the real that's kind of the real moment where he's like, okay, I guess I'm taking over the family business now.
God, it was such a good arc.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I don't remember if, like, they said or not. Is this the first or the second one that made the agreement with Yuki?
The first.
Okay.
So the first Nurarchion is his grandfather, that little dude with the weird skull. The second heir is dead. They do mention that once.
Yes.
So Rikuo's father is dead. His mom's alive, though. She's around.
Yeah.
We see her.
She's like scatterbrained, but around.
She's the scatterbrained housewife.
Yeah. Who isn't really good at doing anything house related.
No. Like they like the servants actively want her out of the kitchen.
Yeah, they're like, fucking leave, woman. Except for they can't say that because she's the wife. She's and the mother of the third.
Yeah.
And then listen, I did get you 2 episodes into the Shikoku Yokai. How are you feeling about the Shikoku Yokai so far?
I mean, I've already seen this whole anime, so I already know how it goes. So I'm not going to say much else.
That's fair. You know about the 88 demons of Shikoku.
Yeah.
I really don't remember that much about the Shoku arc, so this is going to be kind of fresh for me at least. So,
I don't think I've gotten enough into it to really care about them much as villains. For me, it was more funny to see Yura think that the grandfather was just an old man.
Oh my god, Yura was so fucking...
She's like, I'm gonna kill the original, and not realizing she's talking about killing the old man.
She's just like, you're such a good person, Gigi, thank you!
Yeah.
Gigi's just like,
yeah.
I love that old man, by the way.
Yeah, he's great. Like, honestly, he's great. That's that little, like, episode, like, where the two of them are just, like, interacting. That was, honestly, probably one of my favorite episodes, because it's just, like, he's just hiding in plain sight. He knows he's fucking with her, but he just plays it off.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So his name is Nurarchion.
Yes.
Yeah. God, I love him so much. He's so funny.
Yeah.
Also, I like how just, like, nobody fucking acknowledges that he's just got, like...
He's just got, like, a look...
You know what the implication is?
What?
Like, his long hair was just normally sprouting out of that skull.
Yeah.
Which means that...
But no, actually, what I heard, this was, like, offhandedly mentioned by, like, one of the characters, is that as he got older, but, like, his hair started falling out and stuff like that, but his head started to actually contort to look like his old hair. So his head actually didn't look like that.
I did not hear that.
I heard that one specifically.
That's weird.
So his head specifically contorted to match his original long hair's appearance.
So can I ask a big question here?
What?
So we know that Rikuo is 3/4 demon. Or not demon, yokai.
Rikuo is
Bakunin,
1/4.
Yeah.
Rikuo is 1/4.
Is he
Yeah.
1/4 yokai?
Yes,
He's
he
1/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rikuo is 1/4.
Yeah.
You're right.
3/4
1/4.
human, 1/4 yokai.
Yeah. And so basically,
You know that his mother is human.
Does that mean his grandmother is also human?
his grandmother
Yes.
most likely was also human?
Fun fact, we learned all about that in season 2, the Demon Capital.
Yes.
All about it.
I know all about it.
It's a whole ass thing.
It is a whole ass thing, yeah.
Ooh.
But the only implication that really this seems to have on Rikuo is basically how long his demon power is actually active for.
Well, and that's only for right now because
Yeah.
he learns to control it.
Yes.
He's
We get a
starting.
sense of that early in the season as
Mhm.
well, because I think he turns into it a little bit early in the Gyuki arc.
Yeah, he's starting to learn how to control his powers, and the only reason he was only oh Jesus, the only reason he was only turning at certain times was because it was the influence of other stuff on him, like in desperation when he couldn't control them, they just kind of came out to protect him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not the case anymore. Like he is beginning to learn how to use them.
Yep.
This almost seems like it almost kind of seems like a case of one of those things where it's like it doesn't really matter how much yokai he is. Like he can be just as strong. He just has to learn how to control said powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is cool because I like to get to see it because there's a little bit more that we get about his powers in the next arc and stuff like that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm a huge fucking fan. So I guess we can talk about some of the individual characters now. So like Rikuo. I think personally Rikuo has a really good arc. I will say he is in like literally Egypt those first couple episodes.
Yeah.
Taking a bath in literal Egypt for a little while.
Yeah.
What?
Denial.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Denial is just a large bathtub in Egypt.
Vorn, thank you for being around so we can explain the joke to some people.
There are people who won't get that. That's true. I'm sorry. By the way, Yuki Ona's name is Tsurara. We were very wrong with Tsubasa. But
Yeah.
Tsurara is not that far apart.
Yeah.
So that's Tsurara Oikawa. And then
Someone say Tsurara?
Aotabo is the big guy with the skulls.
Yeah.
We don't really get much about him so far.
No.
Kurotabo is the monk.
Yeah.
With the kind of monk outfit. He dresses as the businessman in that one
I
episode.
remember that one.
As the bodyguard. Kubinashi is
the one with the
we
floating
are
head.
the monks. Hey, we are the monks. Anyways, Kubinashi's got the floating head.
Yeah.
Kijoro is the well-endowed woman who volunteered to wear a school uniform, and then very specifically one of the other characters was like, that's illegal. Which is actually pretty funny, because I think there are actually laws in Japan about full-grown women wearing the outfits of schoolgirls in public.
Yeah.
I think there is actually a law about it. I think I read it somewhere. I could be wrong, though. So don't take that as...
like Japan.
But I feel like I've seen a law about that.
Yeah.
It might be because I think they actually use the school outfits to, like, if they need to enforce, like, local curfews.
Yeah. So I think there's something about that, which makes it even funnier that they mention it and that she volunteers to do it.
Yeah.
Then there's Kappa, who is a Kappa. I will say one of my favorite characters in here is Nato Kozu.
Oh, yeah.
The little Nato demon.
Little Nato demon.
He's fucking adorable.
I love the comment when what's her name is at the cafe. She's like, is that one a natto? And he's like, yeah, he's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention 4 of my favorite characters. Karasu Tengu and his 3 children, Kuromaru, Tosakamaru, and Sasami.
Is the implication also that he shrunk as he got older?
Yes, very much so. Also, who the fuck hot-ass woman did he get with to produce them? I want to know her.
Well, we never get any insight to her, even in the manga, so...
But I do like how the Tengu are kind of like, basically the police force, like main investigators and stuff. That's pretty funny. And then there's the allied clans. So, you know, people like Zen and Gyuki, and under Gyuki, Gozu and Mezu, the Ryota Neko, and just all the other guys we meet. People like Kyuso, who was excommunicated. And that's really all we meet for now, besides Inugami and fucking his boss. Starts with a T. I don't know if I can remember. I'm bad at that shit. Tamazuki.
Kabineko.
Yeah, Tamazuki and Inugami. So, like, I said, we get character arcs for certain characters, right? Like, we learn about Gyuki, we learn about Zen, we learn a lot about Rikuo. We do learn a fair bit about some of the human characters, like Yura.
Yeah.
And we talk a little bit about Kana, you know. Beyond that, we haven't really gotten into too many full backstories.
No.
But we'll get more as the show goes on, right?
Right.
So, you know, how'd you guys feel about the individual characters outside of waifu wars and shit?
All right.
Yeah, they're all right. They're
Anyone
all right.
particularly annoying?
Not to me, to be honest. I like the characters pretty well.
Honestly, no. I'd say like the only one really, like, I guess you could say I have like a moderate problem with, and it's not even really I have a problem with this so much. It's just that it feels kind of forced in the story. Is how Kana is basically looks like Rikuo's mother, essentially.
She looks like Wakana.
Yeah, basically.
That is true. She does look a little bit like Wakana.
Yeah, and it feels like it's very forced that there's like a moderate like love triangle going on between her and
between Kana,
between Kana and Tsura. Yeah.
And Rikuo.
So that's the only element I feel like it didn't really need to be there, but it's there.
You know what the worst part is? Knight Rikuo totally plays into it.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah.
Yes. Feel free.
I'm going to hell for this, but like if he ends up with Kana at the end of the story, you know that means he has a mother complex, right?
Oof.
Yeah, but what does it say about him if he ends up with Tsurara?
I don't know, honestly.
You know, likes his dick cold.
I was gonna say he's got an ice play kink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, this got R-rated fast.
Yeah, it really did.
So I mean, I guess that's characters and story for now. There's only like one big arc in this first 12 episodes, and it's Gyuki's.
Other than that, it's just the grandfather fucking with Yura.
I fucking love the grandfather fucking with Yura.
Yeah.
I need that to just be a dynamic going forward.
Right. I need Yura to find out that it's actually Nura Hyun, but for him to just still fuck with her and her just be like, ugh.
I need her to not find out, but he's in like the most weird, absolutely batshit situations.
Sam, how did she not notice?
I have no idea, honestly.
Like the level.
This is some shit, honestly.
God, the fucking level.
Well, she did say that like the higher class yokai are pretty much very good at hiding.
I know, but there is like a level of obliviousness.
That man's head is in the shape of a traffic cone.
Yeah.
Oh no, she might think cancer.
I doubt it.
I've never seen a picture of that bad.
Yeah, no.
Okay, actually, here's a question. Actually, you know, we'll save it for free thoughts, I guess. Just-
Okay.
Yeah, because like it is an honest question. Actually, no, that's fine. We'll just throw it in here. Has anyone ever mentioned that isn't a yokai specifically that they don't really understand the reason for the shape of Rikuo's head?
I don't think anyone ever mentions it.
Yeah. So
maybe it's like a yokai glamour sort of thing. Maybe they're not seeing it.
Yeah, it could honestly be. So like maybe like it doesn't look like anything like
Mist from Percy Jackson.
Yeah, like the mist from Percy Jackson. Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's honestly probably what it is. It like because no one ever human ever mentions it. So.
Yeah, because we actually, if we remember, like the rat that we saw at Rikuo's house, that looked like a normal rat until it got cornered.
Yeah, and then it grew and looked different. And then you saw Kyuso looking like a normal dude.
Yeah.
And then he like went all rat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that actually makes sense that higher level demons can just like hide aspects of themselves.
Mm.
Maybe the grandfather still looks like he has a full head of hair.
I guess with that being said, we should move on to free thoughts.
Yeah.
So, like, comment, subscribe.
Try harder.
We'll see you in a few days.